IT can help lower the cost of government in a number of ways. First and foremost, it can help lower capital costs and operational costs within IT itself, but it can also help improve the effectiveness and efficiency of how we deliver government. We're in an era of explosive data growth. IDC predicts that data growth will be 50% per year. That's 58 times over the course of this decade. So if a customer has a database that's 100 terabytes today, which is big, by the end of this decade, it will be 5.8 petabytes in size. That's just one example of that explosive data growth. We're creating and capturing more data than we ever have before. We're storing it for longer periods of time, and the richness of that data is greater than it's ever been before. So, you look at Gartner, one other interesting data point. Gartner shows that the fastest growing expense in the IT data center today is storage. So when you think about the efficiency of government, you think about lowering the cost of government, with all those data points, you have to look at the data first and the cost of storing, securing, and managing that data. Best practices, probably the easiest thing that customers can do today to help them lower their costs is data center consolidation. Now that involves consolidating your servers, consolidating your networks, consolidating your storage, and of course your applications. As you consolidate that infrastructure, you lower your IT footprint. That helps you reduce power consumption, it helps you reduce heating and cooling costs, and interestingly enough, it also increases your security profile, because as you bring all of that data together and you collect it in a central location, you can improve how you manage and secure that data. And then of course, the big benefit is you're going to improve the services. As you consolidate your data centers, you consolidate your applications, you bring all of that together, you have the ability to improve the services you now deliver, both to within government and to the constituents. From a technology standpoint, it's efficiencies. The big buzzword, if you can recall 5 years ago, was virtualization, right? Virtualize everything. The good news is, we're coming pretty close to having virtualized almost everything. We virtualize our servers, we virtualize our applications, we virtualize the network, and now we've really started to virtualize the data storage itself. So efficiencies, technologies like data deduplication, thin provisioning, being able to do backups very efficiently from disk to disk, all of these things help lower your IT costs, and again, ultimately improve the efficiency in government. Probably one of the biggest effects that we've seen in recent years is this concept of non-disruptive operation. And non-disruptive operation is something we can truly deliver in data centers today. And the value there, if you talk to an IT professional, and I do this all the time, what they'll tell me is, if they're planning an activity in a data center, 90% of the time they spend planning for that activity and executing that activity is in dealing with the downtime that's a result of that activity. If you can eliminate that downtime and gain back 90% of the effort in doing software upgrades, hardware upgrades, the kinds of activities you would need to conduct in a data center, that's a tremendous savings, and one that you can measure in real dollars. So the efficiency technologies that can be delivered through virtualization and through storage efficiencies, and then the capabilities of non-disruptive operations today, have a real technological effect on lowering the cost of government. I would say the harder fiscal times are what have allowed us to introduce new technologies. When times are tough, people look for creative ways to save and be more efficient. And the last decade has given us that opportunity, because the fiscal times have been tough for about 10 years now in this IT industry and in government. And the efficiencies I talked about before have given our government customers and the agencies the ability to realize very rapid return on their investment. And that's meaningful, right? Because as budgets tighten up, you need to see a return on any dollar that you spend, and you need to see that return pretty quickly. Now the hidden jewel has been providing better services out to government. They've saved money, and they've also improved their services. They've gotten a bit of a double bang for that buck that they spend. So the hard times have helped us drive that technology into government. And in addition to that, there are a lot of new capabilities out there with public and private and hybrid clouds that customers can now leverage with IT to help them, again, drive greater efficiencies. And I think the last thing that I'll mention when it comes to driving new technology into IT during tough fiscal times is the ability to use creative financing and creative service delivery so that customers can focus more on the services they're receiving now, and they can pay for it by the drink, if you will, instead of paying for bulk things up front. Or they can use leasing capabilities or other financial capabilities to drive down those upfront costs to get that new technology in.